What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover podcast for the week of January 14th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Julien, alongside
Yvonne, and we're going to go into one of my favorite topics of the recent few weeks that isn't political or anything, that we have a lot of fun with, and that we have multiple shows about. How about that? So, Julien, what are we going to get into this week?
We're going to be talking about the Overwatch League, which just had its first week last week, if I'm not mistaken. And there are a sum total of 12 teams across the globe, which is mostly centered in America right now in terms of the league. And but before we get into that, I'd like to say that you can get this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and also on YouTube in video form for all your viewing pleasure. And it would do us a great service if you subscribe there if you like the podcast, and also give us a review on iTunes, hopefully 5 stars, because we deserve it, right? That's the thing. We deserve it.
Yeah,
we definitely deserve the 5
stars.
stars.
We will prove that we deserve the 5 stars within this next hour.
Yes,
because the podcast is usually an hour long.
Right.
Ish.
And this one's gonna sort of be a test pilot for our upcoming. Well, we're gonna sort of try to replace our current Overwatch replay show with a sort of supplementary podcast that we're gonna put out every Wednesday. Don't worry, we'll still put out the podcast as well every week on Monday at 9 a.m. But you can also check out the Overwatch recap for the Overwatch League every single week on Wednesdays. And also, you can follow us on Twitch, where we will be streaming that live on Sundays. So go ahead and check that out. All the links are in the description below. I hope. Guys, I don't know. Who's going to be streaming it? Do you want to try to stream it on YouTube? We don't know yet. Tell us in the comment section below.
Yeah, we'll figure out where we're streaming it, and we'll let you know.
Yes, on Twitter, so follow us on Twitter. But Yvonne, we start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming across all medias? Yes, music, books, movies, video games, etc. And what did you drink last night?
The video games.
Mostly the video games.
I had a very exciting week in media in that I finally got back to a movie theater. So I've been playing the same games, a lot more PUBG this week than usual. Oh yeah,
we played a lot of PUBG.
I kind of really fell in love with that game. It's really, really fun. So yeah, my main focus has, in terms of gaming, has been split between Overwatch and PUBG. I'm sliding towards PUBG because I can't play with you because Overwatch is the worst.
We will get into that. We'll find out if it's the worst. We'll find out.
And so PUBG has been a lot of fun. I haven't gotten a chicken dinner yet, but I've been top 3 at least once. So that's pretty cool.
Pretty sick.
But it's just a lot of fun. I like playing it more with you than I do alone.
Because you can make fun of me the whole time. Go ahead and check out our Let's Play of PUBG. It's just got put up on our channel. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. And we are real estate hunting in the PUBG universe.
That is the title of the video.
And also, let's see. So I got to see 3 billboards in Ebbing, Missouri, which was a pretty good film. Nice. I wouldn't say it was great. I'd say it's pretty good.
Did that just come out? I don't know anything about this movie.
It did get released, I think, in late December to make sure that it could be an Oscar nom contender. And right now, it's got a lot of buzz, actually, about being a contender for Movie of the Year. Kind of like this year's La La Land.
It's that good already?
It's supposed to be considered that good.
It? They're going to remember it? I don't remember what came out in January of last year.
Well, that's the problem, right? So it stars Frances McDormand from Fargo and Burn After Reading, and also a lot of other things. She's done a lot of work with the Coen brothers, essentially, is what I was trying to get at. But she's also a great actress on her own, and she stars as a mother whose daughter was raped and killed.
Oh, God.
and it's a year later, basically, in the aftermath, and she's trying to force the police to take bigger action. And
Mm-hmm.
so she rents out 3 billboards that she can see from her home, that basically accuse the police department of not doing enough, but without being defaming. So there's a lot of conflict. Woody Harrelson plays Chief Willoughby, the chief of police in the town,
Yeah.
investigating the murder, and Sam Rockwell plays his bumbling idiot kind of deputy
Mm-hmm.
who goes through some human transformations throughout the film slash doesn't. Kind of like a Barney Fife if it was set in like a David Fincher universe.
Okay.
So a lot darker.
Damn.
The movie hits a lot on comedy, but also does a lot to investigate patterns of grief and different things. I thought it was good. It's really worth checking out. I don't think it necessarily needs to be in the theaters, but it's definitely worth checking out sooner than later. So, the
Okay.
theaters it is.
Oh, I see. So you don't necessarily suggest or that you see it in theaters. Like it's not a
No, I don't think it's like
visually necessary to be in the theaters, right?
no. A lot of the shots, there are a few shots that are pretty impressive,
Mm-hmm.
but most of them are, you know, they're not anything to write home about. The main driving thing in this movie in terms of what holds you as an audience member is Frances McDormand's performance as the mother dealing with the grieving process,
I see.
and some comedic moments. The comedy is really good. So if you like
Nice.
a dark
Okay.
comedy, this is a good one to go see.
I'm into that.
And it's not, I mean, it deals with dark subjects, obviously, but it deals with them in, I think, an intriguing and interesting way rather than a downward spiraling depression kind of way. So
Okay.
it's not Leviathan,
Yeah.
but it's not, Woody Harrelson. Or not Woody Allen. So it's somewhere in between, and I think it's well worth checking out.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes,
Did you
and
did
I
you do
just
anything
tried
else?
a grapefruit cider
Okay.
beverage, which was interesting but not great. So, still looking for
It was a
some sort of
cider?
grapefruit beverage. Yeah, it was like a grapefruit cocktail, like
Oh,
a highball thing.
okay. Okay.
It's $2.50 a can from Trader Joe's.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and too sweet or something?
Uh,
That's something we wanted to
the
talk about
cider
also.
didn't mix well with the grapefruit. It wasn't sure what it was supposed to taste like. It wasn't sure whether it was supposed to be sweet or sour, and it got left in the middle and
Uh-huh.
mildly tasteless.
I see. That's
I would have
interesting.
preferred it went one or the other way. Like a woodchuck is sweet, but you enjoy that sweetness when you drink it. But they have
Grapefruits are
different woodchucks that have tartness in them. And this one was neither sweet nor tart. It was kind of like the Miller Lite of beer of
Oh.
cider drinks.
okay. That's a rough drink then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say grapefruits are necessarily that sour. I
They
think
have
they're
a tartness to them,
yeah,
though.
they do because they're citrus fruits. But I think if you get a good grapefruit, it's mostly sweet and a little bit bitter. I think. Well, personally.
That's a good point.
But yeah, they definitely have that citric acid in there, which is nice. But yeah, that I think I guess the best way to have it would be to make it yourself. Right?
I did get an Italian grapefruit soda.
Nice. The
So
San
I might
Pellegrino
try
or
and mix that. No, it's not a San Pellegrino.
okay.
Ironically, coincidentally, none of those things. Weirdly, but it is chilling in the fridge right now, so I might try out
Nice.
some vodka with that
Oh yeah, it would be pretty good with vodka
or gin. I think.
or gin. Yeah, gin I find is pretty good with pineapple juice actually. I like gin with
Interesting. I
pineapple
haven't
juice.
tried that out yet.
It's not bad. You should check it out. Oh my god.
There's the
Yeah.
florals, the herbaceousness mixes well with
Yes.
the sharp pineapple
Juniper.
juice.
Oh, yes, the juniper mixes well
Juniper.
with the pineapple. It's nice. Cool. So you had that to drink and you watched that movie, pretty sweet, and you played PUBG. Is that all you
Yeah.
did, or and do anything else
Pretty
fun?
much. Pretty much.
Cool.
Might go to Dave and Buster's after this.
Dave
Who
and
knows?
Buster's, sick.
Get some D&B, yo. Go to
Nice.
get some D&B.
That's fun.
Yeah. So how about you?
Okay. For me, I actually did a lot. Instead of going to see a movie, I went to see The Book of Mormon, which is a Broadway play in New York City that's been running for about, for quite a long time now, actually. I think maybe 2 or 3 years. Although these plays tend to run for 10 years or so. But yeah, so I went to see that because my dad got me tickets, which was really nice. He got it for me for the holidays season. Nice gift from him to take. He got my girlfriend and I tickets to see it. It's a hilarious play, made by written by the makers of South Park, Matt is it Matt Stone and Trey Parker? Yeah, that's their
Yep,
names.
nailed it.
I was gonna mix them up, I feel like, but yeah. So and as you can imagine, it's almost exactly as if South Park was a Broadway play. It's just so it's the exact type of humor, the exact writing from South Park, that sort of humor. If you can imagine that in a play about Mormons and Mormon missionaries going to. Actually, the plot of the play is that they send the two main characters, which are these Mormon missionaries. That I'm not sure where they live, but they get sent to Uganda in Africa, which is hilarious. It's just a hilarious premise, I think. But it's also, I think, it touches on like the actual fact that that is not that much of an uncommon thing to happen. There are a lot of missionaries that are they just go to all these places in Africa and sort of provide a false sense of hope, and then they just leave. So that's sort of what the play was talking about a lot, but it was hilarious. A lot of usage of the F word, something that you wouldn't typically see on Broadway. It was a musical. Sorry, I guess. I don't typically like musicals, actually, but this one was hilarious, and all the songs were so funny. And you could clearly see that the actors were like classically trained in like musical dancing and singing and stuff like that.
Nice.
So yeah, or at least this production of it. I know it's been going on for a while, and I think that the current actors in it are not the original actors, but it's
No,
still,
the original
yeah.
actors are at least one was Josh Gad.
Right, there's no way. Yeah, I definitely didn't. Yeah. So it's definitely worth seeing. I would go check it out. But I know it's very difficult to get tickets to it. So good luck. But yeah, I did that, and then I got to play on stream. You can follow me on twitch.tv/GGBsgood if you want. If you want to see me play games live, I stream Tuesday, Friday, and usually a weekend. On Friday, I streamed Doki Doki Literature Club, which is a free-to-play game on Steam. That's sort of it's sort of like I won't spoil it for anyone because you can only really play this game once. But
Aren't there different women that you can talk to?
I don't think so. There are 4 women in the game. And it's a sort of like a visual novel. Yeah, you don't really do anything except for select certain words at certain times. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. Go into the game without knowing anything if you're gonna play it. It's free to play, so go check it out. There's no microtransactions or anything. Although you can buy like the wallpaper, because there are some high quality visuals in the game. You know, they're like really high quality portraits and things of the characters. I guess you could buy that. I think you can spend like $15 on it, but otherwise the game is actually $0. It's free, so go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
If you want to see Yvonne play it, I'll watch him play it and try not to spoil anything for him while he plays it.
Oh God.
It's so crazy. The game is actually really crazy. I suggest anyone who has 3 hours to spare and no video games to play, I would check it out. It's only around 3 hours long, so you can play it in one sitting. It's a lot of fun. So I played that, and then I got really frustrated playing Overwatch on my current account, which is GGB's Good, on PC, because I've sort of, and of course we also played PUBG together, but I felt I got, basically I had this account for, I don't know, for pretty much since the game came out, or a little later after then. Once I started playing ranked, I placed around, I think, 1800 to 1900 originally, and then as the seasons went on, I kept playing, and I was sort of sitting around that area, right? And then I got the worst luck. My skill hasn't changed, and I don't think the
If
skill.
anything, you've gotten better.
Yeah, if anything, I got better, and I don't think the caliber of players that I came up against in that ranking got any better. I think they were pretty much the same skill rating, but I ended up getting a horrible streak of luck with my teammates, because I would end up, maybe every other game someone would rage quit, and maybe every other game our team would not coordinate and they would just trickle in, and then eventually rage quit. So like, I think I had a streak of about 10 games where I lost in a row because of one reason or another. I wouldn't necessarily chalk it up to myself, although I will totally take I'm not saying I didn't do poorly all of those games. I mean, or one of those games, one of two of those games. I'm sure it was my fault every now and then, but I shouldn't have lost 10 games in a row, right? So I ended up dropping around 500 to 600 SR, and I sort of ended up in the 1300 bronze rating. And so that sort of started to tick me off, and at that rating, then I would just win one, lose two, lose three, win one. That sort of ranking. Not everyone is just doing whatever the fuck they want, and it doesn't even matter. So that's sort of where I've been sitting for about a couple months. So then we did the placement matches, you and I, and I ended up placing in similar rankings, so around 1300, and you ended up placing in 2500. And you would say that we did comparably in skill level, and we played with the same people. So that must therefore mean that the Overwatch matchmaking and placement matches don't really tell you anything, or at least as far as I know. So I basically just got a new account because I'm sick and tired of it, and now I've been grinding out in Overwatch to get to 25, and we will definitively prove through science, Yvonne, if below hell exists.
Despite everything that Jeff Kaplan says.
It does exist, or we will find out if it does exist. Because we'll do my placement matches again, knowing that Yvonne is clearly 2500, and I'll play with him, and then we'll see where I rank.
This is gonna be terrible. I'm gonna be so bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Look, we'll play a lot of quick play first.
I'll be Torb.
Yeah, just you asshole. You're gonna ruin it for me. You're gonna throw the games for me. God damn it. God damn it. Elo Hell doesn't exist. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And I also played a little bit of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC. Very exciting stuff. That game's pretty fun. And
what does the DLC entail?
They added like 20 new
more
shrines.
Dungeons? New shrines.
Yeah, and you have to, and then there's a couple cutscenes that tell a little bit more about the story behind the champions, because the DLC pack is called the Champions Ballot, I believe. So there's 4 champions in the game. So it's pretty cool. I think it's worth getting if you haven't gotten in Zelda, and you want to play more Zelda after you beat the game. So that being said, and I went on a rant about Overwatch, but I think there are some positive things that came out of this week in Overwatch. Specifically, the Overwatch League started, Yvonne.
Yeah.
The Overwatch League started. What were your first impressions of the presentation, the skill level, the pure hype from all these games? What did you think about it?
I did not go into Overwatch League with high expectations. I have never really watched esports before,
Right.
and it never seemed like something I'd really get into.
Hmm.
I know that you've watched your fair share of fighting game
Yeah.
esports, and we've had a discussion here on this podcast about esports, and I've voiced that I really wasn't into most of the games.
Yeah.
But I think that really changed with Overwatch. I
Yeah.
think I've found my esports league to watch. I think it's mostly because I actually understand this game, like
Yeah.
everything, not everything about it, but it's like when you're watching a sport, right? Any other sport for me is the more you know about not just the rules but the strategies behind how players are doing things, the more you can enjoy the game, at least for me. So like I can
Absolutely.
watch football and I know the rules and I know like the difference between a pass play and a run play and a few different passing routes,
Yeah.
but it's not the same as if I was watching soccer. So soccer, I've played for like 20 something years now, so I'm very well versed in tactics and strategy and how to play and see the field in a way that makes sense a lot more than having never really played football.
Right.
But Overwatch is kind of like that. So Overwatch I've played since it was released. Not the beta, but the day one of the console release, I was playing it.
Yes.
And so I really feel attached to it. And seeing these maps that I know, characters that I know, seeing even like mistakes that esports players make. Like I saw on day one, I think it was the Korean team was playing on Ilios, and one of the players was playing Winston and jumped into the well, just mistimed his
Yeah.
jump
Yeah. That actually
completely.
just showed up in the video. If you want to go back, it's pretty funny.
So it was cool to see like esports players aren't like headshot automatics. They do have some mistakes that they can make. They can miss shots and do things. So it's not just robots playing a game.
Yeah.
But it is high skill level. You can see strategy that these guys are doing that I have no hope of performing because I don't have a 6-man team
I
with
would. Yeah. I
patience.
My goal in this game is to get in a game where we have that level of coordination. I think it's so cool.
It would be amazing, but I think that it takes every single player playing their character to a very high degree and also being open to listening to other players, and that's
Which
something
is.
that doesn't really happen in Overwatch unless you're playing with a team.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think that it's beautiful to watch Overwatch the way it should be played,
Yeah. Right.
which is really really funny. And so I was enthralled. I even tried to stream it at the gym when I was working
Oh,
out,
that's hilarious.
but
Did it work?
my Wise Wi-Fi is a little bit weak, especially
Ah,
in the
dang.
sauna room.
Oh, well, there you go.
But it's something that I could definitely watch while running on the treadmill or stretching after the workout. So
Right, yeah.
as long as I'm there between the hours of like 7 and 10 when they're closed, but usually I'm there a little earlier. So how about you? What did you think of Overwatch
Yeah,
League?
I thought it was really amazing. Or at least the games that I saw, or parts of the games that I saw. I thought the presentation of the whole thing in the Blizzard Arena was like over the top. It's like crazy how much like they had the did they have when they have like the intros like the Dallas Fuel's coming out now or whatever, and they have the, or maybe I'm just thinking of something else, but they have the, what is it? It's like the smoke machine and it blows up
Yeah, yeah.
the stream of air or whatever it is, stream of smoke.
I don't
I
know
don't
what
think
it's
they
called,
had
but
that,
yeah.
but
I
I
think I've
might be
seen
making that
pictures
up.
of like Team Mayhem coming out with smoke machines. I've actually never seen the start of a match, like when the teams are coming out. I've
Right,
only
yeah.
seen when they're the like game one of a match.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's really cool the format they have. They have it's a best of 5, I believe, and they have
It's
set matches.
four games
Yeah, it's best of 5
within the
though.
match.
So if you won 3 of them, if it's 3-1, then you don't go to the 5th match, but if you go if it's 2-2 by the time you get to the 4th match, then you
Oh,
go
I
to the
guess
5th
yeah,
match. It's
because
best of 5.
Philly versus Houston was 3-2.
Right. There, yeah. Was it right? Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think it's really, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I think that I agree with you. I think the reason why you may have said that about esports is that you didn't really find a game that you take so seriously in terms of competitive nature of the game, right? So
Yeah.
that's what you're just saying. So I think that's why you like now you like believe in the hype, man. No, now you like the game a lot more, or you're willing to watch pros play the game at this level, and I think that's really great. I'm glad you like the game that much. Yeah, I think the coolest part is that they have a really crazy control room in that center or wherever they're showing in the arena. I don't know if you saw what it looked like.
Yeah, I
They
did.
had some shots of it. But yeah, they have like they
Dope
can
statisticians up
capture.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They have the guys' statistics coming up on screen on the overlay. They have a first person view of every single character, first and third person view of every single player.
And then they
So all
have the
six on
map
each
view
team. Yeah, and then they have
too.
the overall map view, depending a free camera view of
It's a really
most of the
nifty
map.
camera setup for
Yeah,
this.
this is really custom built for this exact tournament or these exact games, which is really great. And they must have like really great monitors for these players right in front of them. I just think it's kind of funny that it's just like 6 or 12 guys on a computer. I mean, I don't necessarily. I don't think it's only a man's league. It just so happens to be that way because there aren't as many female professional Overwatch players. I don't think.
But even
Um,
the best female Overwatch player who got accused of cheating
I don't
and
know
streamed.
anything about this.
There was a Korean woman who
Yeah.
was like one of the top Korean Overwatch players.
Uh huh.
And she's the best female Korean Overwatch player. Was accused of cheating,
Okay.
and so she did a live stream of herself playing at Grandmaster level with Zarya.
Yeah.
One camera was on her keyboard, the other camera was standard.
Okay. Cool.
And to just show that she wasn't cheating, and she performed really, really well.
So
And
this
even
is
I think there was
sexist.
a Korean esports player who um, gave up playing esports because he thought that she was cheating, and he said, "If she's not cheating, I give up."
Jeez,
Yeah,
that's crazy. And he honored his word.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
That's okay. That's legit then. Well, anyways, the whole thing is it's only men playing in these teams, and the except for 3 teams, all the teams are American based, um, or owned by Americans, and I think it's really cool that there's a New York team. Like that's exciting to me. I mean, you and I are both live in New York State, so I think that's really exciting. It gives us a reason to cheer for a team. It's not just some sponsored team. Well,
I'm
it
an
is a
Outlaws
sponsored
fan
team.
actually
Yeah,
myself.
well, I mean, exactly, sure, whatever.
Houston.
That's fine, but I think like it brings it to another level. It's not just like a professionally owned team like Cloud9 or Envy or I can't think of any other
But they
esports
are
teams.
though.
I
Cloud
know
Nine
I know it
is the
is, but
Spitfires team or
right.
London's team. But I
No,
think what the point you're making,
yeah.
and that I kind of just skipped over completely, is that it is cool that it's a city-based thing like the NFL or the NBA,
Yeah.
rather than those teams that you have in like league or other places. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think it broadens the audience, and I think that's really great for this game, in terms of community building, etc., and all that stuff. And also I wanted to say that the LED, the screen at Blizzard, the the whole like wall screen, that thing's so
Yeah,
crazy.
that's so cool.
It's out of control. How do they make that? That's so cool.
It must
Custom
be
built.
super expensive.
Yeah. I wonder if you threw a rock at it,
Oh my
would
god.
all of it break? I don't know what happens.
Imagine Winston jumping into that.
Oh my god, that's out of control. But
But
yeah, I think
what's interesting is that
yeah.
even though all of these teams are from different places, only one of them is
They're all
technically a
Korean.
Korean team. They're Seoul Dynasty, but 3 teams are all Korean teams.
Are
Basically
Yeah,
brought over from the now defunct Apex Overwatch League.
right. Exactly. So it's sort of like how we have a lot of we there are yeah, it's sort of like the MLS, I guess, in a way, where we
And
have
it
there are a
is
lot
a
of
lot
foreigners in
like
MLS.
competitive soccer. They even FIFA instituted a rule where some percentage of your team has to be from the country in which you play because they had so many foreign people playing in their leagues, like
Yeah.
Spanish or French or Argentinians playing in the British league.
Well, I don't see why. I don't really care.
Germans. If
As
you have
if
the
they're
money to
willing,
pay for it, right?
yeah, and if they're willing to represent your country or your city, that's cool. I think that's great. I don't see why they have to be from from America or from New York or from whatever. But yeah, so this league got a pretty huge amount of viewers on Twitch, as it's exclusively streamed on Twitch, and I
Not
believe,
exclusively.
well, Twitch has
Some
the
some of the
third
games
party
are
streaming
exclusively
rights.
with Twitch. Some are
Okay.
streamed on Blizzard and Twitch at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
in terms of Twitch is the only other person outside of Activision Blizzard that has the rights to show them.
yeah, I think I saw that when I was watching, there were 350,000 people watching live concurrently on Twitch, which is kind of crazy. I'm
It got
surprised
up
their
to
servers can work that well.
440K plus.
That's out of control. So that must be some of the stream that has drawn like some of the highest numbers alone. That's so cool. I'm
According
glad
to
that there are many
eSports
people.
TV ratings, so these are only TV ratings.
Yeah.
In terms of the games that were played and their overall viewership, the highest overall viewership last year in 2017 was CW H1Z1 Fight for the Crown, which had a viewership of 378,000 people.
Wow, that's crazy.
Over half of which were from 18 to 49, that key demographic.
Okay.
So it looks like that that isn't even a comparable number to what we're seeing with the start of Overwatch League, because I think that's a one-off, and yet we had several days and several matches where we had at least 300,000 plus viewers
Right.
of Overwatch League, and with the peak at day one being 440,000.
So, do you think that Overwatch League is going to see a fall off in viewership at all as it goes? How many weeks is it total?
So
For this
Overwatch
prize
League
pool.
Stage 1 will finish in February.
Mm-hmm.
And Stage 3 ends in June with the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ending in July, I think.
Okay.
So we have a big chunk of time to go through. And some reports from like Morgan Stanley said that it had the ability to be $100 million revenue venture.
Okay.
So that would require a lot of viewership and a lot of people going to see it in person too. I think it's natural that week 1 has higher numbers than any other week.
Yeah.
But maybe it can also be building through word of mouth and more people will tune in the next week. I think we'll have to monitor how the viewership goes, and by week 3 or 4, we'll really see kind of what the standard levels of viewership should be.
Okay. And this is all for, and I guess it should be said that this is all for a prize pool. I think of what, like $125,000? No, it's not like that much, is it?
So stage
is
1,
it-
the prize is 125,000.
For the winning team, or just in total?
I think so.
Like the top 3
I think
teams split
it might
that.
be a prize pool.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So this is sort of where I see esports and actual sports are still differing. Esports games, as far as I know, always end up being the way they pay their players is still through prize pools and still through whether or not they win the tournament that they're in. As far as I know,
Different in Overwatch League.
is it?
And that's
This
kind of
is
what Overwatch League is kind of cool because it has a base salary and
all
then
these
prize
players have a base
money.
salary.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
prize money is split between the
Top
the team
3.
ownership and the players. And
Okay.
that's also why Overwatch League has their special skins have a different currency
Right,
because
yeah.
any revenue generated from people buying those skins is actually split not just between Blizzard and the overall owners of the team, but the players, which is really unique. I think it's unlike most sports teams in which a player won't really receive the revenue that is received from their jersey being sold, for instance, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's true.
if you're Sammy Sosa in the 90s or LeBron James today, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Big names at the times, I don't think you're receiving that amount of revenue from your jersey being sold.
Right, but Michael Jordan gets his revenue from Air Jordans, I assume,
Yes, and LeBron
because he's
James
smart
has
enough
like a
to.
$1 billion contract for the rest of his life with Nike or something like
Yeah,
that. So
probably.
they get their money in different ways, but in terms of who gets the revenue from gear being sold, it's I think the NBA and that team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, okay, so that's one unique thing about this league, which it sets itself apart from most other major league gaming sorts of things, which is pretty cool. Um, I think that's good news. It's still adding microtransactions into Overwatch, or adding more microtransactions into Overwatch, which I don't like. I don't necessarily like microtransactions, but I think some of the skins are pretty cool, and they did give us a free one,
Yeah, that was pretty
but
cool.
just
So
so we
yeah,
could get hooked.
Overwatch League players will earn a minimum of 50,000 in salary.
Oh man, that's a great salary to play video games all day. That's
Yeah,
awesome. But I mean, it's a very
especially if
difficult
you're
job.
like 17, 18, 19,
Yeah, which
which a
these
lot of
kids
these
are.
players are. So
It's
it's
amazing.
actually a pretty decent wage.
Yeah, and they can go on into whatever, coding. I don't know what do you do. It's not like you turn into a retired football player where you're a car salesman. It's like, what do you do after you're a pro
You
gamer?
sell used computers.
Exactly. I think that
Come on down to Timu's Timeless Machines. We sell all of them. Timu's got every price
time
for
moves
everything.
machines. I think that they should I think they should try to become tutors or something and train people to
Well,
get good at
a,
games.
a lot of them do become like coaches or staffs of these overarching like Cloud9 or
Yeah.
MV or Optic Gaming, so they'll become coaches and
Or,
help
well, we're
coordinate
starting to see the
practices.
first generation of those people because these teams haven't been around for incredibly long, right? So
Yeah,
I would say,
and they've
which is
aged
pretty
out
funny.
for the
Yeah,
most part.
aged out. Well, yeah, that's what do you think that Overwatch League having such a great success? What do you think it's going to mean for esports moving forward in the future?
Well, so far it's had success. We'll see how it goes through because it is a long season. I
It
mean, this
actually
is
is, yeah.
this
It's
is
like
6 weeks or something per stage, so that's what 18 weeks at least. Plus, they'll have playoffs for each of the stages and the final playoffs, and they'll have a All Stars weekend in August.
How long
So
is the football? Is American football uh,
football is 16 or
season?
17 weeks this
Okay,
season,
so
and then the playoffs stretch for another 4 or 5
it's
games.
crazy. So
I
it's
mean,
comparable.
yeah, it is. Basketball is 82, and so is, I think,
And
NHL is also
hockey is
82.
82, right? Yeah, crazy long.
And the baseball season is like 160 years.
Yeah,
It's a
we don't talk about
ridiculously long
baseball on this
season.
channel.
Um, So Blizzard is more comparable to football, but football is a great league to base your viewership on, right? So the average viewership that the NFL is getting per weekend is like 16.5 million.
Right.
And that's a huge amount of
Hmm.
people. I think it's probably top 3, if not number 1, in terms of viewership per week.
Damn.
Because shows are just getting lower and lower viewership. You don't get 20 million people tuning into the same thing every week anymore.
It's true.
Because of all the diversification. So Blizzard getting 440,000 people to watch at once is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And I think that if they can keep pushing the envelope in terms of how this league works and keep that number going up rather than or stabilizing rather than going way down to 200,000, then we have something to talk about. Then we have something that's spectacular. I think the weird thing about gaming is that you can, like me, I'm a gamer. I spend a lot of time playing video games, but no other esports was interesting to me other than Overwatch.
Right.
Whereas if I played basketball at any level, I can still watch basketball.
It's true. Exactly. Yeah. So, well, but you're comparing. It would be like comparing someone who only watches basketball to, and then asking them to watch football. So it's like you have to think of every game as its own sport, I would say. And I guess it seems like you're grouping them into one.
Well,
right?
yeah, I suppose I was talking about level of competition, but even so, I think there's more interest in somebody who plays like basketball, or for instance, I played soccer, rugby, and I swam growing up.
Yeah.
I've never played a game of basketball, organized basketball in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I still really like watching the NBA.
Okay, yeah.
I've also never watched or played football, but I'll watch football when it's on the TV, and I participate in fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just because I'm a really big sports fan, I will watch sports because I feel that level of like physical challenge and things that I like across most sports. But I don't feel the same way about esports. It's a different thing because I don't think of esports being that physically demanding, other than like you have to be able to keep your body awake and alert for the amount of hours these guys put into to doing that. So
right, no, it's a different type of it's more, well, I wouldn't say it's more mentally challenging. I assume all the team sports, you have to be incredibly focused and aware of your surroundings, etc. It's just a different type of mentality going into esports. So I see where you're coming from, but I definitely don't want to belittle all the skill that's going into these games. They're all really
it's
skillful.
definitely a tough thing to do, and that's why not everyone can do it. And people at the highest levels can just utterly kill people at my skill level.
Yeah. So, well, that's...
Even though I did place at 2,500 initially in Overwatch.
Exactly.
Overwatch leagues. Look
There
out
you
for
go.
me.
Yeah, they're coming. Look, we're going to Diamond once I get... with my new account, all right, Vaughn? We're getting a Diamond, and then we're going to Grandmaster, and then we're going to be fighting all these kids, these 12-year-old kids that are in Grandmaster, or these 18-year-old guys, the Korean guys, all right? That's who we got to go after. Well,
Sounds
yeah.
good.
So I guess we've sort of... I don't know if you have anything else to say about this. It can be a shorter podcast if you want, unless you had something else to say.
I think one of the things that should be said is that although there's a diversity in terms of people who are playing, we've got Russian players, some other European states like from Finland, I think.
Yeah.
We've got Korean players, American players, UK probably as well. There is not a single female within the entire group.
Right, that is bad.
It seems like a lack of...
Maybe it's bad. I don't know.
I think it's lacking that nobody has foreseen to, like, draw in that top Korean player, the top Korean female player, who is a very good Overwatch player.
Right,
and
exactly.
Especially in a league where the more Koreans you have on your team, the more successful you are.
Usually,
the top 3
typically.
teams being Spitfire, which is an all-Korean team, Excelsior is an all-Korean team, Seoul Dynasty, an all-Korean team, and number 4 in the power rankings currently is LA Valiant, who has half are Korean.
Yeah.
So it's when you have to go to Korea to get good players in order to win, and then you leave out a female player who is just as good as a lot of these guys, it seems lacking. But the fact that we're relying on one Korean player that we know of to be the representative of female gaming is also kind of
Yeah.
weird. So I think we should look at the structure, and if we're going to grow the sport, then we should grow equanimity within the sport.
No, I agree for sure. I think it's interesting that there are no in this Overwatch League specifically. We're using this as an isolated example, of course. That there are no female players on any of the teams. I think that's really something that should be talked about. And but I also want to say that you're drawing from a pool of players, right? And let's look at the gaming demographic as a whole for Overwatch. I think you would say that the majority of players, probably 70%, are male. I'm gonna throw that number out. I'm pulling that out of my ass. I don't know if it's true, but in my mind, I think at least that much are male. Then you have to think of how many of them are pro players, right? How many professional players are there? It's probably I don't know, maybe 1% of that player pool is professional or is like a sponsored player. And those people, they're probably majority of them are male as well. I'm not saying that this is because or I'm not saying that this is I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. No, I'm trying to say that if you were to take a sample size, like if you were just to take random agglomerations of professional players, you're most likely to get all male teams no matter what. I'm not saying there aren't female professional players. I'm just saying that the majority of them are males. So, and I'm trying to say that I don't know if it's because the companies that sponsor these teams won't take on female players. I don't know their vetting process or how they select players to sponsor. So it could be that they're being sexist and they're the worst. But it also could be that the female players that have come to them to try out were not as good as the male players. That could also be a thing. I don't know.
But it could also be a systemic failure of encouraging
females to play video games in general. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm well aware that there are shitty people on the internet, and when you're growing up as a girl, it just sucks to be on the internet. I'm well aware of that, especially as a gamer, a female gamer. I cannot imagine how much shit that they get, and just because they're female, it's the worst. So I agree with you, but it could also, I don't want to just throw them under the bus because there are no female players. But I agree with you. It could be that we don't have all the information. All right, Yvonne? We don't know.
Fair enough. But I think that it's one of the things that we can look to hope that there are some changes or some improving in that kind of demographic failure.
No, I would hope to see a female, kick some ass in this Overwatch League. I hope that happens. And I think that would be a really good encouragement for female players to play this game more often. I think I know every now and then I do get a woman in my games on my team, and that's really awesome. It's like a breath of fresh air sometimes, to be honest with you.
Yes,
but yeah,
agreed.
But yeah, so anyways, that's something to think about going forward in terms of Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Because it's not like football where we separate male. We don't even have a female league for football, but there's women's soccer. Exactly. Anyway.
I think there is a women's league in football, but it's
not popular.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
I know they have the lingerie bowl every year. And they also have the puppy bowl. Come on.
They do have the Puppy Bowl.
It's just a joke. Sorry. Okay. What were you trying to say? You're trying to say something.
No, I think there was a women's league, but I'm not sure if it continued.
That sucks. That really sucks. Because, I mean, if you think about it, right, everyone was sad that America didn't make it into the World Cup this year because they suck.
Mm-hmm.
But the American Women's Soccer League, the American women's national team has been kicking ass in the World Cup for the past couple years, right? But no one pays attention to that shit. That's something to talk about.
The founding of it in like '96 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I think, didn't they win last year? They won
the last tournament, yeah.
Yeah. So exactly. Like we only focus on the men in terms of sports, and I think that's a problem. That's a systemic problem that sucks. It really sucks. But yeah, anyways.
Yes. So
you have anything else to say about Overwatch League, or
no?
I just on fumes here?
By next week we'll get you to Diamond.
Yeah. I'm going to Diamond, Yvonne. You can stay where you are. I'm going to Diamond. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, we end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the viewer or listener, can send in your music, or your friend's music, etc., a song that you played an instrument on, or sang, or wrote, and want to share it with the community, because this is free advertisement for you. We'll play it at the end of the podcast. But if no one sends in a song, well, first I should say you can send the song into gaminghungover@gmail.com. All the information's in the link description below. But if you want to get in contact with us. But if no one sends in a song, I get to pick one, because usually Yvonne doesn't want to pick one. Do you have a song? If you have a song.
Not.
All right. Well, since we talked about...
Usually my songs get rejected, to be fair.
And it's not because I don't want you to play a song or have a say in which song it is. I'm just saying we're going to get the copyright strike, and then it's going to get taken down. The video.
Well, fine.
Or we might not be able to upload the video because of the song. Sometimes it happens that way, Yvonne. We can't just play Kesha all the time, all right? I'm sorry. New rebranded Kesha apparently is the shit. I don't know if you listen.
I haven't listened to it. Maybe I should
my
check it
girlfriend
out
Nikki really likes her new album. You should check it out.
I will.
But yeah, so if no one sends in a song, I pick one, and today I've picked Overwatch Remix, Trailer Theme Epic Orchestral Remix 2016 Remake. From Plasma 3 Music Remixes.
So many words in a title.
I was trying to
Still
find the
don't know what it
Overwatch
means.
theme, but that would have been repetitive, I think, because it's not that long. So we're going to play this song for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and tune in to the Overwatch League recap live next week on Sunday. If you're around, it'll be on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter. We'll tell you when it's going up. All right. Cool. Vaughn, and I guess if you miss it, then you can listen to it on Wednesdays. But Vaughn, thanks so much for doing the podcast with me. I know you have to go do something, so I'll talk to you later. And to everyone else out there, peace out.
Bye.